Hi, I'm Marty Schupak. Welcome to Schupak Sports and tballamerica.com. What you're watching now is our T-ball practice template number 14, and it's a special Schupak Sports where I call this the quick tip session. I try to keep it under 15 minutes. I go through 6 of my best drills. And in between, I'm going to give you an advanced tip, because I'm assuming when I do these videos that you're going to continue coaching baseball or softball, and I hope you do. So stick around. You're going to like these advanced tips. And make sure you subscribe. I want to keep this format going as long as possible. I'm recording this in March, right before the season's going to start. I'm in the Northeast. I'm 27 miles north of New York City. As I speak, actually, we have a dusting of snow on the ground, but I'm like you, probably always thinking about baseball and softball, which is right around the corner. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to show you 6 drills. We're going to do 3. We're going to take a break, and I'll give you an advanced tip, and then we'll continue. If you've seen it before, forgive me. I'm going to try to give you some subtle tips. Please listen closely, and also please subscribe, okay? I have to have more subscribers on the YouTube channel, so please subscribe, and please share this with your league, with your co-coaches, with your parents, and everyone else. Keep in mind, too, before I start, you always want to have a parents' meeting. I touch on this, and I'm going to be doing a video to take a deeper dive into what to go over. But the first 4 or 5 years that I coached in youth baseball, I made the biggest mistake of not having a parents' meeting. When I decided to have a parents' meeting, I found that anywhere from 40 to 60% of the complaints disappeared. You're always going to get complaints. You just want to cut them down. You want to go over different things that will come up in the future. And one of the things I did, just to add on to that with the parents' meeting, and the parents' meeting should not last any longer than 10 to 20 minutes. I try to do it before the first practice. Sometimes in T-ball, it doesn't work out. So you can have one of your assistants run the practice. You do it on the sideline, but you have to have a parents' meeting. And one of the things I've done, and I did this every year henceforth when I coached, I would tell the parents, listen, I do not take complaints during the first 5 games. If you have a complaint, you're going to have to wait till the 6th game. And I do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of times the complaints, if the parent has a complaint in the first game, by the 4th or 5th game, it'll take care of itself. And number two, it just cuts down on the complaints too. You want to use your time as best you could in coaching, and I want you to become very good coaches. I want you to come back and coach next year. Let's get into it. So have a parents' meeting. The first drill I'm going to show you is the knockdown fielding drill. This is good for eye-hand coordination as the child's body, the visual system. It'll help that, an ability to see through their eyes and put it into a practical use, okay, with within that person. Now, what this is doing is you're tossing, throwing overhand at the player. Okay, this is a simple station, and you could do this at home. All right, and especially with young kids, you want to toss items and you want to have them knock it down with their gloved hand. So if they're righty, you want the left hand free, and you tell them to knock it down, and you toss different objects every which way. Again, you're better off doing this with 4 or 5 year olds than returning T-ball players, okay? And what you want to do is you want to use what I call non-threatening items. And I'll repeat this over and over again. The 2 biggest things that turn people away from youth sports is embarrassment amongst their peers and getting hurt. So especially in T-ball, we want them to come back. Now in this drill, you could be creative and do any soft covered balls. And I just happen to have a few things I put. This is what I call a rag ball, where I take a clean rag and I wrap it around with 2-inch masking tape or 1-inch masking tape. And I actually use this throughout my coaching career. And you'll see when I get to the tip, there is a purpose for this for older kids. Now, this is beaten up, but you could reuse it. And again, it's a non-threatening item. And another item you could do with this knockdown drill is something like this cloth. It looks like actually a pair of socks, but if you undo it, all it is a pair of cotton gloves. So you're going to toss it and they're going to knock it down, okay? Remember, you want to have the fingers up. And the other item you could use, and I've done this, though newspapers are getting very scarce as people read what they want to see in the news on the internet, if you could find newspaper, you could roll it up. I do it 2 at a time. Now, keep in mind it separates, but again, a rolled up newspaper is another non-threatening item. And I do it in this drill, and I also do it if you want to have a catch with a young player. You could get very close, and I've also done this having them hit the rolled up newspaper. Okay, so again, that is the knockdown drill, and we're throwing it, and they got to knock it down with their glove hand. Okay. The next drill, it's a throwing drill, and I try to take drills in this quick tip session where I cover throwing, batting, fielding, just a couple of drills from each. You might have seen this before. This is what I call the freestanding bench throw, okay? And the reason I do this is I found that with young kids, a lot of times kids don't bring their arm back. But what happens is, not only do they not bring their arm back, but when you try to correct it, sometimes young kids think they are bringing their arm back when they're really not. And I developed this, and don't go out and buy a freestanding bench, please, or even 12, okay? What I did this is, I use bleachers with this. I stand at the foot of the player. They have a soft cover ball, and I have them drop their throwing arm down, as you see the picture, okay, and then wind it around and come up and throw it. What this is doing, gravity is actually helping them to bring their arm all the way back, okay? And another tip is, I tell coaches, always separate skills with younger kids early in the season. So if you're teaching throwing, don't have them catch the ball. If you're teaching them to catch the ball, don't have them throw it. So what this amounts to is you're going to need a lot of baseballs in T-ball. And even when you coach at a higher level, I tell coaches, any extra money you have, put it into baseballs. All right. Okay, so this is the freestanding bench throwing drill. A couple of things about throwing too while I'm on the topic. If you do some throwing drills, and I've said this before, you always want to have a target, like a small cone. Now, generally the player at the T-ball level, 4, 5, or 6 years old, they will never be able to hit the target. But what's happening is in T-ball, on throwing drills, a lot of times the ball will go all the way around, and it's because their head is moving. If you have a target, it kind of steadies the head a little bit. So it'll keep the ball from going wild, and it'll keep their head from moving. So try to use a target. And what I've also found is in throwing drills, and you could observe this as you coach and as you move up, players that have older brothers or sisters are generally ahead of other players on your team in your league. And that's because, of course, they would like to go out and play with their older brothers and sisters. Okay, keep in mind, players develop at different paces. I've seen kids develop very late as far as throwing, catching, and hitting. We have to encourage kids to keep playing baseball and softball. I've seen kids blossom at 13 and 14-year-olds when they almost dropped out of the league. So this is the freestanding bench throwing drill. Again, don't go out and buy a bench. You could use it bleachers. Be careful when you use the bleachers. The next is a basic hitting drill. If you have kids really young as 4 years old, keep in mind, hitting a baseball, a severe, off a batting tee is very difficult for the first time. You want to make sure you're putting the players in a position to succeed. One of the things I did is, for young kids, I bought a plunger, bathroom plunger. I put it in the tee upside down, and I put the beach ball in it. All we're doing is making it easier for first-time T-ball players to hit the ball off the tee. We want to create success. We want to create confidence, and that's what this is doing. You could do this in your backyard. You don't have to go out and buy a beach ball. You could have a batting tee. You could use a kickball. Again, I'm giving you suggestions, and there are a lot of props involved in my drills. Don't go out and just buy items. I don't want you to spend money you don't have. If you look around the house, you'll see items that you could use to substitute for some of the things that I suggest. So those are the first 3 drills. If you excuse me, let me get a little swig of water, and we're going to get into the advanced tip. If you continue to coach at a upper level in baseball or softball, a big thing for kids will be batting practice. And the first few years of my coaching career, I thought that my batting practice was not that efficient. The kids liked it, it was good, but it just was not efficient. What I mean by that is I thought that in a limited amount of time, if I polish certain things, I can increase the number of repetitions kids will have hitting. Now, I'm going to go through this quick, but at the end, if you want to take a deeper dive into my batting practice, I have a session, a video session on YouTube, and I'll put a link down there, okay? But I'll go through quickly. One of the things I do, first thing is I get two empty 5-gallon buckets. I put one behind second base and one right behind the pitcher's mound. As far as pitching, when I pitch batting practice, I make sure my league has an L screen, okay? And if they do, I like to come to the foot of the mound and pitch from there just because I'll be more accurate. If they don't have an L screen, pitch from the top of the mound at the rubber, but please encourage your league to get an L screen just for your safety. That's the first thing we do. The second thing we do is this. I give players numbers like 1 to 12 as they come to practice. And the reason for this is number 1 will be up first at batting practice. Number 2 will be up second. Number 3 up third, and so on and so forth. Okay? So what I do is this. I have number 1. He'll be ready to hit. Now, very important, I want to emphasize this. The on-deck hitter has to be ready to hit. So at the beginning, I make sure the number 2 hitter is resting in the dugout. He's ready to bat. He has his he has his bat out of the batting bag. He has his batting gloves on, okay? I've had situations where I call the next batter, and he starts going into his bat bag, pulling out his batting gloves. I say, no, I'll skip him, say number 3. The batter on deck has got to be ready to hit, okay? I also have the third on-deck batter. I'm a huge believer in utilizing the time. I have them with an assistant coach hitting balls off a batting tee into the screen make sure it's a soft cover ball, a wiffle ball, or a pickle ball, and make sure your league, if you adhere to your league's policy about hitting into the screen, you don't want to do it with hard balls. And on the other, the fourth on deck hitter will be on the other side with another assistant coach doing the toss drill. And I alluded before that I use this. It's a rag ball for the toss drill. Okay, I usually wrap up anywhere from 2 dozen to 3 dozen, and you could continually use these. Okay, now after that, and I'm just showing you the setup. If you have 12 players, this is showing 12, 4 outfielders, which is fine. I'm a proponent of bunting. I put 2 cones on the third base side, and the first 2 pitches I pitch, if the ball goes between the cones, they get 1 extra swing. So if I'm throwing, player's going to get 5 swings, and 2 bunts go between the cones, they'll have 7 swings. Again, we have the tee here. We have the toss here. The number 2 hitter is in the dugout, ready to hit. Once he's out, this player will get his fielding glove and go in the field. I'll call number 5. So 2 goes at bat. 3 runs into the dugout. 4 will switch stations, and number 5 will come over here. Very important. When I do batting practice, it is what I say it is, batting practice. It goes quick. I do not have the player run the last one out. Okay, batting practice is batting practice. They don't run the last hit out. We go to the next batter. As the fielders field the ball, the infielders will roll the ball over to the bucket behind the pitcher's mound, the infielders, and the outfielders will roll the ball to the bucket behind second base. When I run out of baseballs, I'll tell the team, okay, everybody gather up the baseballs and put them in the buckets, and we go to the next batter. That's how I run batting practice. Okay? No run the last one out. My teams get between 10 and 40% more swings than any other team with this batting practice. I'll put a link at the bottom, at the end, if you want to take a deeper dive. All right, let's go back to T-ball now. This is the T-ball target hitting drill. And what we're doing is we're having the players keep their eye on the balls. And how we're doing that is I'm taking animal stickers and I'm putting it on the baseball. So I'm saying to the batter, okay, go ahead, hit the elephant or hit the giraffe. Okay. And what this is doing, the drill, is it simplifies a focal point for the batter to swing at. I found I've used different stickers, and I found animal stickers are the best. I tried using fruit stickers, but animal stickers work best. Okay. And in my mind, if you have to use an animal sticker on a ball for some players in a game, I think there's nothing wrong with it. If your league commissioner or president of the league frowns upon it, you got to talk to the guy, especially early in the season. We want these T-ball players to succeed. All right. Now let's go to a little more, I don't want to say difficult, and I've showed this drill before. This is the goalie drill. I set up 2 cones. The coach will toss grounders each side. Very important. And it's a concept we want to teach young players. They have their glove, but you want to emphasize to the players, you don't have to catch the ball in this glove. You have to keep it in front of you. Okay? That's a concept they'll take on as they move up in the league, because on ground balls, as we know, you don't have to catch it. If you keep it in front of you or you knock it down, you can still make plays. So the coach will toss it left, right, left, left, right, 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 left, right. Okay, and we try to have a player backing up. That's the goalie drill. And you can adjust the cones, and as a coach, depending on the player, the age, 4, 5, or 6 years old, or his talent level, you can adjust how you throw the baseball. Use soft covered tee balls in this drill, as in most drills in tee balls. Safety trumps all. Keep that in mind. All right. The last drill I have, and I've showed this before, it's the circle drill. I usually do this with older kids, and usually not early in the season. But what I'm doing is I'm setting up a circle, and do it with soft covered balls again, and the coach will throw a ground ball into the circle to start, and then each player that catches the ball will pick it up and throw it to another player. The only rule is you cannot throw it to a player next to you, and that's pretty obvious. All right, and this helps players keep their eyes on the ball. They'll learn to keep their head down, and also in this drill, they'll learn to follow instructions. Now, I'm a great believer in T-ball, especially early in the year. I don't like using gloves in a lot of different drills. All right, so see if you can do this without gloves. And I've also, if they get better, don't do it early in the season, but during the season, do this drill. But if they get better, you could even try it with 2 balls and try it with 2 circles. When the kids get older, they love competition. You can make that into a competition. So that's it. Those are the 6 drills, and I showed you the advanced tip batting practice. Please subscribe to Schupak Sports, and please give me a thumbs up or a comment. And I'm going to count to 2 1,000, and I want everyone to do a thumbs up. Ready? 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Okay. Thank you for those who did it. As far as products, T-ball drills, check it out. Okay. Has 110 drills. Highly recommend it. If you're going to continue coaching, you have to get this book, Baseball Coaching. If you don't have the money, go to your library. They'll grab it for you. The beauty of this book, and I made sure we did it, and I encourage coaches to buy the hard copy and the ebook copy. The reason being, I have over 300 pictures, but I have 60 sample practices. And I spent a lot of time to make sure on the ebook format that if you're reading it online or on your phone and you click any one of the drills, it'll take you back to the drill in the book. So if you can afford, or if you can get the hard copy, get it, but make sure you get the ebook format too, just for those links. So that's going to wrap it up. Again, I mentioned, give me the thumbs up, subscribe, and we're getting ready for the season, have the parents meeting. And until next time, this has been Marty Schupak, and I'll see you at third base.